Hello and welcome to LFC Focus. Liverpool are taking on West Ham at the London Stadium this Sunday in a match that will have absolutely huge ramifications in the fight for the top four this Premier League season, because while Man U have fallen away a little bit given recent results, Arsenal have suddenly made a resurgence and are back in the fight for a top four space. So while Liverpool's Champions League destiny is still technically in their hands, they don't actually have to rely on the results of other teams to ensure that they do get into the top four. It is still vitally important that we do win this game at the London Stadium against West Ham, because if we don't, then Arsenal will have an opportunity to overtake us should they win all of their games. So, like I said, it is a massive game, and I am actually expecting Jurgen Klopp to make a fair few changes in this game because, as I said in the post-match video for the game against Southampton, it was sort of symptomatic of a lot of problems that have been recurring for Liverpool in recent weeks, and it would be a big shock for me if Jurgen Klopp doesn't try to address them by making a couple of changes in the lineup as well as shaking up the way that we play. One of the things that a lot of people have been calling for, and I did mention in the post-match video for Southampton, is to bring in Alberto Moreno instead of James Milner at left back, because Milner's performances recently just haven't really been up to scratch. They haven't been as good as they were earlier on in the season when he started playing at left back. And while he is a good left back when it comes to defensive duties, he's simply just not good enough when it comes to attacking because he cuts inside too often. He hasn't got the pace or the creative edge to play in that sort of advanced position on the left-hand side, and he just generally slows down our attacking play. And those are all traits that Moreno has the opposite of. He's much more attacking than James Milner. He loves to get in behind defences, he loves to run to the byline, and he loves to use his left foot, which James Milner certainly doesn't like doing. So he really would offer us an extra dimension playing at left back and would serve to stretch the opposition defence a lot more, which would mean a lot more space for the players who play down the centre, like Coutinho when he cuts inside or Firmino when he plays in that false nine role. Another player I'd like to see, and this one's a bit more obvious, is Adam Lallana, because he was a substitute against Southampton when I think a lot of us were expecting him to start, given that he played 80 minutes against Watford and seemed relatively fine, and given how slow our midfield was in that game against Southampton, and the fact that he's had another week of training to bring himself back to full fitness, I would actually be really surprised if Adam Lallana doesn't start this game. And I think if he does, then he'll certainly offer that extra cutting edge and link between the midfield and the attack that we were missing against Southampton and that we really need if we are to break down opposition defences and play just a much faster style of football than we have been playing in recent weeks. I'd also quite like to see Daniel Sturridge, because there have been some stats thrown around about how he created more chances against Southampton than any other player in the game, despite playing only about 25 minutes of the match. And while Divock Origi, he does fit Jurgen Klopp's system more, and he probably has more of a future at Liverpool because he's younger and he's more able to adapt to Klopp's style and improve his overall game. I just think in terms of quality, he's not good enough at the moment, especially if we are just fighting for the top four and we do still need to grind out results. And Daniel Sturridge is the kind of player that I think Liverpool need, because while, like I said, he doesn't suit Jurgen Klopp's system as much, he's simply able to produce moments of quality that Divock Origi can't do yet, that can win you games, and that is exactly what Liverpool need at the moment. So injury-wise, there isn't too much big news at the moment. Jurgen Klopp has been talking about Jordan Henderson and the fact that he could play again this season. Whether that's in the game against Middlesbrough or the post-season friendly in Sydney, I don't think he's going to be ready in time for the game against West Ham this weekend, because I don't think he's been training this week at all. So while he won't be available for this game, which is a bit disappointing, the idea that he could be fit and ready for the last game or two of the season is a massive boost for Liverpool, because we have missed him an awful lot while he's been laid off. So as I said, this game is a bit of a must-win for Liverpool, given the situation they're in at the moment with regards to the race for the top four, and I'm fairly confident that they can get those 3 points. So here are my 3 reasons why we will beat West Ham. First of all, Andy Carroll is unsurprisingly not fit for West Ham at the moment, and so that should be a huge boost for Liverpool, given that we are famed for struggling with set pieces and big strikers who are good in the air. And it'll also help the fact that if we do play Moreno, who does tend to leave a little bit of space out wide, there won't be too much of a threat from crosses, whereas if those West Ham players were continually getting space out wide and getting crosses into the box and Andy Carroll was there, I'd be a little bit more worried and might be a bit more inclined to say that maybe we should play James Milner in this match. But the lack of Andy Carroll and the lack of really a recognised striker at all at West Ham at the moment should hopefully work in Liverpool's favour, because I don't really expect West Ham to attack much in this game, and if they haven't got a recognised striker who they can leave at the other end of the pitch when they are defending to rely upon when maybe counter-attacking if they get the opportunity, then it's a bit more unlikely that they will get a goal, and that means it's more likely that Liverpool will get the win. And secondly, as I said earlier, I think I and most Liverpool fans are expecting a few changes and a few shake-ups in this game, both with the starting 11 and the general style of play that Liverpool should play in the match. And I think this will work in our favour because it will take West Ham off guard. They won't really be able to formulate much of a game plan if Liverpool play in a way that's different to their recent performances, and should also just give the team a bit of extra edge and hopefully get them back to how they were playing earlier on in the season. Obviously, I don't think they're going to be as good. I don't think that we're going to destroy West Ham this weekend, but hopefully see a bit more dynamic football and gegenpressing that we haven't really seen for about 2 months now at Liverpool. And finally, I think going away to West Ham simply isn't the intimidating trip that it used to be. Back when they played at Upton Park, it was notoriously one of the most difficult away trips of the season, and Jurgen Klopp played 2 games there and he lost the league game 2-0 and the FA Cup game 2-1, so he hasn't had any luck at the ground either. But since they moved to the London Stadium, they sort of lost that edge, and they have underperformed at home this season. Maybe not as much recently as they did earlier on in the campaign, but they still haven't quite got to the same level they were at when they were playing at the Boleyn Ground last season. And again, hopefully that can work in Liverpool's favour, because the lack of a sort of tense atmosphere that could get to our players a little bit should allow them to play freely and express themselves a bit more, and hopefully get those 3 points that we so desperately need. So that's all for today's video. If you want to see how I think that Liverpool will line up in terms of the starting 11 against West Ham, then you can check out the FIFA 17 predictor, which will be out fairly soon after this video. If it's already out, then you can click the link here to watch it. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new around here, and follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter. Bye for now.